Good morning. Today we're going to talk about some general tips for renting a home here in our area, Pineville, Louisiana. Um, First of all, there's very limited inventory for people moving in from another market. A lot of times they're surprised at the lack of choices they have for rental property. Well, what happened is we never really built large apartment communities in our town. And so what happens is people who can't buy have to live somewhere, so that puts pressure on our rental inventory. As a result, there's not a whole lot out there to choose from at most times of the year. So second tip, what does this mean for us? Logic tells us if there's a lack of inventory, there's probably going to be competition, especially on the more desirable units. It's not uncommon for me to list a house to rent in the morning, and before I can get all the internet advertising done, by that afternoon I have 2 or 3 people with applications in hand, which kind of ties us into our next tip. Many of the rental properties aren't even listed with real estate agents, and so it is so simple under most circumstances to get the property rented that people will buy an investment property and then just put a sign in the yard. And so if you're moving to the area, it might be necessary to either hire someone to look out for you or get a friend or relative here to do it, or simply drive around yourself and look for rent signs. Brings us to our next issue. When you do find a home that's not listed with an agent, pay attention and read closely the contract you're signing. I can tell you all sorts of horror stories about people who come to me wanting to buy a property and they show me the lease that they're in or they're getting out of, and it literally looks like a third grader typed it out, and frankly maybe that is what happened. But it's in your interest before signing any sort of real estate contract, if you feel the need or you're uncertain about something, get legal advice. There are plenty of quality attorneys around here for a very nominal fee will look over that lease you're about to sign and tell you, give you legal advice. Hey, this is a good thing, or no, we need to change the verbiage here a little bit. And it's, as Ben Franklin said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if you need a recommendation for a local attorney, give me a call and I'll be more than happy to help you to direct you to someone. Before you move in, document the condition of the home. And so go through it, take pictures of every room. When you move out at the end of the lease, there's often disputes between landlord and tenant over condition, what was pre-existing and what did you actually cause. If you have pictures of each room from when you moved in showing that damage already there, that gives you a little more documentation. Avoid prepaying months and months in advance. Now, again, there's limited inventory. If you have to negotiate that out, so be it. But just my general advice is to avoid doing that. Let's say you pay 9 months in advance, and in month 3, the home, God forbid, burns down. Is that owner going to have that cash, or maybe did he or she already spend it, and then you got to fight to get it back? So, yes, there's typically a deposit that must be put down. Again, that's negotiable, and then first month's rent. But I tell my clients to avoid prepaying, and even when I represent the actual landlord, I tell them, let's don't collect a whole lot up front just in case, nightmare scenario, something does happen. And finally, renter's insurance. I put this in all of my leases, and the tenants have to sign it saying they will get renter's insurance. What that is, quite simply, if, let's say, the structure burns down and all of your clothes, your personal property is in there, generally you have no coverage through that owner's policy. Okay, so, and you think, well, it's just clothes. Think about having to go out and replace everything you own. That could be $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, even if you go cheap and buy some stuff secondhand. So rental policies are typically very inexpensive. So I tell people, whoever use your car insurance, whoever insures your car, call them up, tell them you're renting a house or an apartment and that you want to look into a rental policy. You'd be amazed at how cheap those policies typically are. So by all means, get renter's insurance. Okay, welcome to the area. If you have any questions about the process, give myself or Prince a call. Make it a great day.